The iconic music scene of April 1965 you just can't find today. This place in time is filled with music, fashion, incredible live shows, and a promising outlook. The music scene has taken on a life of its own. Optimism can be seen in the fashion, heard in the music, and experienced on the small and big screen. The joyful energy within the music scene is emitting everywhere from Motown to California, from London to LA. Music weaves in and out through many aspects of lifestyle in April 1965. Despite problems emerging in the world, there is still an overall positive feeling about life and the world to come. We see science play a big role in fashion and culture. The iconic music on the radio has a song for everyone, and it is creating a feeling of connection throughout society. If only that optimism could have just been bottled up and a little saved for a rainy day. In 1965, if you are working at one of your neighborhood small shops, you are making around $1.82 per hour as an entry-level clerk. You might have plans to work your way up to manager and someday open your own store. If you decide to go to college, you will pay around $450 a year in tuition. After work, you walk down the street where you check out the boutique windows where you see a vibrant shift dress on display for $15 and a men's mod blazer for $35. You head in to pick out a colorful new raincoat. You probably have just a handful of very appropriate and stylish outfits in your closet that are well made and will last you for years. Walking home, you see the kids outside chasing each other, riding bikes waiting for their mother to call them in for dinner. Soon you are at home where you pay about $75 a month for rent in your two-bedroom apartment, which is only about 1/4 of your monthly income. You still have money to spend after your bills, as what you make in relation to what things cost is reasonable. On your record player at home, you put on your favorite new single by the Beach Boys, "Help Me Rhonda." At the Troubadour on Sunset, you can catch the Byrds performing, who just released their single, a cover of Dylan's Mr. Tambourine Man. In the UK, you can head over to the Marquee Club to catch The Who performing their latest release, I Can't Explain. The Settlers and Manfred Mann. Here Comes the Night, by a band out of Belfast. Them, with their lead singer Van Morrison, is getting a lot of radio play. The British Invasion songs being played in record stores, on the radio, and on musical variety shows are The Beatles' Ticket to Ride,
I think I'm gonna be sad. I think it's today. Yeah.
The Kinks' Tired of Waiting for You,
Oh, tired of waiting for you.
The Rolling Stones' The Last Time, and Petula Clark has a hit with I Know a Place.
Don't let the day get the better of you. When the evening comes, there's so much to do. You better put on your best and wear.
Out of Australia is The Seekers, who have a hit climbing the charts, I'll Never Find Another You. People don't realize how much they are in the grip of ideas. We live among ideas much more than we live in nature. Saul Bellow. In April 1965, the best-selling book Herzog, a novel by Saul Bellow, follows a middle-aged man for 5 days who is in the middle of a midlife crisis. The Moody Blues are performing their latest release, I Don't Want to Go On Without You.
It's so bad to be alone.
They performed their latest songs at the New Musical Express Poll Winners concert, which also features performances by the Beatles, the Animals, the Rolling Stones, Freddie and the Dreamers, the Kinks, the Searchers, Herman's Hermits, Donovan, Them, Cilla Black, Dusty Springfield, Tom Jones, and Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders.
Here comes the night. See the joint boys are rocking, going round and round. Yeah, reeling and rocking.
In April 1965, you can catch Hullabaloo, hosted by George Hamilton, with guests such as the Hollies, the Ronettes, the Womenfolk, the Impressions, and Wayne Fontana and the Mindbenders singing their chart-topping song, The Game of Love. The entire cast performed the remaining top 10 songs, and Mademoiselle magazine stages an op-art fashion show. Spring showers were not about to dampen the fun to be had, and the vibrant raincoats and attire are a testament to the vibrancy of the moment. The clothing designers and the iconic music are capturing the cheery feeling. As the space race heats up, the fashion scene is brimming with space-age looks, as seen here in Harper's Bazaar magazine. A science experiment is conducted to be seen as a window into how astronauts might hold up physically and mentally on long, lonely voyages into space. In April 1965, Antoine Seni emerges from Olivier Cave near Nice, France, after spending 125 days alone without a timepiece or calendar to determine the effect of such solitude on the human mind and body. Seni would sometimes sleep for stretches of 30 hours at a time, then wake up believing he'd just had a short nap without sunlight or human cues for sleep. The study found the negative emotional and even physical impacts that isolation has on humans. In 2024, an interesting poll of 2,000 British adults found that a staggering 40% have gone at least 3 days without a face-to-face conversation with another person, just based on lifestyle habits, and I don't think a single one of them were planning on becoming an astronaut. Today, we have unimaginable habits to 1965's highly social society. I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, is the latest single released by the Four Tops. In Hollywood at Ciro La Disc, Little Richard is playing with his backing band, The Upsetters, who has a young guitar phenom playing with them, unknown to the world at this point, Jimi Hendrix. April 1965, a TV special airs shot documentary style in the mountains of North Carolina called Bluegrass Roots. It follows Old Man Bascom Lunsford as he casts the talent for his Asheville Mountain Music Festival with folk and bluegrass music. Elvis has a movie out called Girl Happy, as does Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello with Beach Blanket Bingo. Both are comedies with music as an underlying theme. In April 1965, the Ford Mustang is one of the most popular cars of the moment, and McDonald's becomes a publicly traded company while their hamburgers cost just 15 cents. From Motown, the hits keep coming from Martha and the Vandellas' Nowhere to Run.
Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide.
Marvin Gaye's I'll Be Doggone, and the Supremes with Stop in the Name of Love.
I'll be doggone. Love ain't a man's best friend. Oh, baby.
Tom Jones's song It's Not Unusual is creeping up the charts along with Herman's Hermits' Mrs. Brown, You've Got a Lovely Daughter.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
In April 1965, the Beatles enter the charts with their latest single, Ticket to Ride. The song will become the Beatles' 7th consecutive #1 hit in the UK, and their 3rd consecutive #1 8th in total in the United States. Music critic Ian MacDonald describes the song as psychologically deeper than anything the Beatles had recorded before, and extraordinary for its time. It is a sign of times to come. Well, that's it for April 1965. I hope you enjoyed this trip down music history lane exploring the iconic music scene and other fun and interesting facts. How does it stack up to today's music scene? Your feedback is greatly appreciated. Please leave a comment below. Be sure to check the earlier iconic music of 1965 in these videos.